Coming up, the lies you've been sold about success. I'll break them down. And then highly paid men are the ones leading the charge for complacency in the workplace. We'll break that down too. Let's go. Helping you win at work and in life. I'm going to pull this out, guys, because I'm not getting anything in my ear there. So, hey. Technology happens sometimes. I got one ear, but I'm still ready to go to help you win at work. And it starts with some of the lies you've been sold about success. Culture has been force-feeding these lies to you. And it's time we expose them because they're crafty. You ever notice that a really good lie makes a whole lot of sense? Nobody ever gets duped by a really weak lie. It's effective. And these lies are very effective. In other words, they make a lot of sense. A lot of sense. You can sit there and go, well, yeah. And so that's why they're so easily adopted. And so the other challenge that we have is not only do really effective lies make sense, they come from people who are in positions to be helping us. And so we look at them and we say, these are credible people. What am I talking about? Professors, university recruiters, self-help gurus like me, advertisers, companies that are very profitable and have great reputations. How about pastors? Uh-oh. And sometimes people that we really look up to are peddling lies that they have come to believe. So I'm not saying that these people that spread these lies are actually doing it to be evil, to be mischievous, to be misleading. They're not. They've accepted the lies. So have I properly set you up now? Let's dive in. These are lies that you've been sold, that you have bought about success. Money. A lot of money means you're successful. Nope. Not true. That is a lie. You got a lot of status. Got a lot of followers on Instagram, TikTok. LinkedIn says you're an influencer. You are successful. Not necessarily. That's a lie. You're powerful. You rule a lot of people. You lead a lot of people. People lean in when you make a decision. You are powerful, so you are successful. Nope, that's a lie. You've got a degree. Got you one of those diplomas in that really nice cherry faux finish on that frame. You are successful. Nope, that's a lie. Oh, the school you went to. Ivy League school. Best school in your state. They got a great football program. They got a great brand. You have achieved success. Nope, that's a lie. You're an extrovert. You have charisma. You are successful. No, that's a lie. Oh, you're tall. You're tall, handsome. You are beautiful. You have a great figure. That is going to make you successful. Nope, that's a lie. Success has nothing to do with how much money you make, how much status you have, how much power you have, the degree you have, the school you got it from, the way you look, the way you're wired. None of those things equal success. Those are lies. Success is completely dependent on you making the unique contribution that only you can make. That's it. That is success. If you make the unique contribution that only you can make because of where you live, because of where you work, because of what you do well, because of what you love to do, because of what motivates you, and in your season of life, in your country, in the world, your county, your zip code. I mean, you can just look at this from every angle possible, but it is unique to you because it is you. So you can be a janitor and be very successful. You could be a school teacher and be very successful. You can be a welder and be very successful. You can be a professor and be successful. You can be a doctor and be very successful. It's all determined around one thing. Are you being uniquely you? Are you making the unique contribution that only you can make? That's the definition of success. So the status, the power, the money, all the things that come along with that contribution are gravy. They aren't the definition of success. So it's high time that we as individuals, we as people who influence other people, mainly parents, friends, family members, what is the narrative around success? And I'm going to tell you, when it's focused on how much money you make, what status you have, the power you have, the degree you have, the school you got it from, the way you look, the way you sound, all that crap. Let me tell you something. It is distracting people. It is confusing people. It is depressing people. It is killing people. When you're chasing those lies, let's just go back and look at this. You could have a ton of money. You could be on Wall Street, make 7 figures, have all the cars, all the girls, all the whatever, that hedonistic lifestyle that we see in The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm just painting one picture for you. You could have power. Governor of a state, U.S. senator, pick whatever you want. You can have all those things. And if it's not the unique contribution, the combination that I teach every day, where you're using what you do best to do what you love to produce results that matter to you. Let me tell you what this is. This is like empty calories, the kind of food that you eat that just keeps making you hungry. There's no substance. There's no protein. That's the idea. It's empty. So yes, a lot of people say, man, you make a lot of money, you're very successful. But I think success is determined by significance. Are you making the significant contribution that only you can make, that the world needs you to make? That to me says, I've made my significant mark. I've made my mark, the mark that only I can make. That determines success, none of that other junk.
Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, that's your talent, the work you love to do, that's your passion, and the results that matter to you, your mission. Then you'll feel more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/clarity.
Hey folks, this week marks a very special moment for the show. We've been seeing massive support in our YouTube audience. And so in order to serve you by making the content easier to find and then consume in the way that you want to consume it, we're moving forward with our live stream being moved to a separate channel. So for all of you who watch live every day, and you enjoy the longer form content, you can check it out at the Ken Coleman Show Full Episodes channel. And then for those of you who you're here and you want those highlights that are very, very specific, and the short form, you can find it on the Ken Coleman Show Highlights. Those are the names of the channel. So thanks for continuing to support the show. Again, if you're watching via YouTube, will you subscribe and share? If you listen via the podcast, would you subscribe? Would you follow is the new term. And give us a really good rating, please. My ego can't bear a bad one. I'm fragile. So thank you all. We're very excited. And Alex, I'm just going to tell folks, we got some more fun stuff and new stuff. We're really excited about the growth of the show, and we're going to keep bringing you content. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. More good stuff coming your way. Okay. So I want to focus in on this article here from CBS News on quiet quitting and the correlation to well-paid dudes. Well-paid dudes and non-college educated dudes are going to be my focus of this segment. And it's got to be said, so ladies, you don't get to take off, but this might help the dudes in your life, but you can sit back and have a cig on this segment. Always love saying that. I don't know why. I don't condone smoking. It's horrible for your health, but it's fun to say, isn't it? Now, there's a couple of comments from our YouTube channel that I want to address that are related to this topic when I talk about this topic on previous shows or in previous highlights. There's some comments that I want to touch on related to the topic. But first, again, resetting this quiet quitting where employees are setting boundaries at work and they're basically saying we're dialing back our efforts. And it depends on who you talk to, what your opinion is. But I think shared on both sides of the aisle where I think it's about complacency and average. Others are going, no, it's just I'm not going to do more than is asked of me. I'll address that comment because it came in on one of our YouTube comments. I think it's a fair comment, but I'm going to give perspective on it. But here are the numbers about college-educated, highly paid men. Come on, guys. I always have to say that before I launch into this because this irritates me. In 2022, the top earning 10% of men worked an average of 77 fewer hours per year compared with the same set in 2019. This was a bigger decline than any other group in the workforce. Now, this is analysis from Washington University in St. Louis. On a weekly basis, these men worked 1.5 hours less than they did prior to the pandemic. Not necessarily bad there. More context needed. It is likely that college-educated men in highly paid roles are partly responding to labor market trends. With a tight job market and skilled workers much in demand, they may feel secure enough to scale back their hours. This is according to Washington University professor Youngsik Shin, co-author of the study. But another economic puzzle is why the nation's labor force remains smaller than before the pandemic. About 62% of working-age Americans are currently employed, down by 1 percentage point from 63.3% in February. So 62.3 versus 63.3 in February of 2020. So you got 1 percentage point less workers, if you will. In early January of this year, about 1.7 million people said they were not working due to COVID-19, whether they were having long COVID or caring for someone else. But there's another group of people who are simply sitting on the sidelines. I've talked about this on the show. That's men without college degrees who are in their prime. So this is between 25 to 54. We're talking about men in their prime working age in that demographic. About 1 in 9 of these men are out of the labor market compared with 1 in 50 in the mid-1950s. Now, this trend, according to this study, is, and by others, largely driven by men who lack a college diploma and whose earnings have eroded over the last several decades. And this has weakened their incentive to work. More of these men who may have moved in with family members or partners and who provide housing support while earning some money in the gig economy may miss out on job milestones. Shin says if you aren't working in your 20s, then it'll be difficult to find a job in your 30s, and so on and so forth. All right, so I want to comment on several things. This idea that this economist puts out there, I have a hard time really landing on that as a concrete issue. And the issue is non-college educated men have seen their earnings erode over the last several decades. Well, without some hard and fast data on this, I think that is a guess at best. The fact remains, if you look at 10 years ago, call it 2013, 10 years ago, what the hourly wages were. Now, yes, inflation has gone up and expenses have gone up, but the opportunity to earn more is as high as it's ever been. Just this week, I covered how freelancing work is blowing up. By the way, freelance work isn't just relegated to white-collar skills like maybe computer coding. So this idea that their incomes have eroded, that is implying that opportunities aren't as good today to make money as they were 10 years ago? Well, there's no evidence of that. In fact, we got the jobs report yesterday. The economy created over 500,000 new jobs. Unemployment, all-time low. I'm telling you, these dudes are sitting at home because they have nothing to aim for. They either had something they were aiming for and they never went after it, so maybe fear and doubt got the best of them, and so because they never went for it, they kind of just have shrunken back. Or they went for it, it didn't work, and instead of failing fast and going, hey, I'm young, I failed, what do I learn? I get back in the game. They took their ball and went home. They got overlooked for a promotion. All these things come down to they don't have anything that they're really longing for, very specifically, that they care deeply about, because the heart keeps you in the game. You know what the heart doesn't do? When the heart's alive and the heart is hopeful, the heart doesn't retreat. That's why you as parents never stop going after that wayward child. That's why, hey, dudes, you don't get discouraged when that girl keeps telling you she don't want to go out because she's got to wash her hair. What? It's the heart. The heart doesn't shrink back. The mind does. So this is a big issue that I'm going to speak more and more to. But I'm telling you on the surface, the fact that these non-college educated men are not working is a societal problem. It is creating a huge gap as it relates to our work economy. When restaurants can't hire people, when small businesses can't hire people, that has a very devastating effect. This is not well, that's just their problem. No, this is a us problem. And it's not fixed with legislation. So, the quiet quitting men who have the college degree, same deal. You're not longing for something. You don't have a desired future that's got your heart beating fast. If you did, you wouldn't be shrinking back and quiet quitting.
Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? You're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. If you need to make a move, you'll even get practical next steps to keep you moving forward. Listen, stuck is a choice, and life is too short not to do what you were created to do. To take the quiz, go to kencoleman.com/quiz.
How many of you are stressed out at work? I don't mean like a little bit of stress. I mean like you're so worried about the stress you're about to walk into that when you pull in the parking lot, you start stressing out. It's like pre-stress stress, right? I'm stressed about the stress. That's where we are. That's where we are in this country. People are stressed about the stress. It feels like a Seinfeld episode. I feel like I could write that one. I'm stressed about the stress, right? It's real, though. It's real. So I want to walk through this because I think, again, there's great power for people. I have fun every day saying I'm a man of the people because I do care so much for you folks. I care deeply for you. I want to challenge the leadership norms in this country. I want to challenge the institutional thinking that holds people back. I want to meet people where they are, staring at the face of doubt, paralyzed, cringing from the voice of fear, paralyzed, so consumed with our prideful thoughts of what everybody's going to think and say about us that we cannot move forward. I'm all about you folks, the people. So I have some fun with that all the time, but there's power in the people. We, the people, have power. I think we overlook this all day. And by the way, this concept doesn't have to be political. This isn't about grabbing pitchforks and storming the castle and protesting. I mean, we, the people, have the power to grab onto messaging, to grab onto common sense, to grab onto philosophy and adopt it and change our world. And as a result of that change, other people will see it and do it. Give an example. Where do you think the Great Resignation started? It wasn't leaders. I can tell you it wasn't politicians. Politicians by nature aren't upstream of anything. They're downstream of culture. All they do is react to everything else. They're diesel sniffers. They're just always following everybody else, sniffing the tailpipe of culture. I'm just telling you, they are. Oh, what are people saying? Oh, I got to go out and talk about that. They haven't made a decision from their conscience their entire lives. So when I see headlines like this, I think, what do the people of the United States need to do? What can they unite on that has nothing to do with politics or faith or sports, the things that divide us, whether for fun or for strife? Here's the headline. Work-related stress is fueling America's mental health crisis. Now, you just think about the amount of time you spend at work. You just run your numbers really quick. Right now, listening to me, watching me, just run the numbers. Let's just start with your day. If you're like most Americans, you are spending more time at work than you do anything else unless you throw sleep in there. Okay? So I consider sleep a form of unconsciousness. So when I'm consciously active, engaged, I spend more time at work than I do anything else. So it's no surprise that the data says workplace stress is the top driver of mental health issues. Calm, which is an organization that did this study that I'm going to quote from, their Workplace Mental Health Trends Report. They found that 50% of employees say that work stress is impacting their personal lives and their relationships with their family members and friends. Of course it is. As well as their relationship with themselves. And we tend to have fun with this stuff. Feels like a Saturday Night Live skit, like Stuart Smalley. For those of you who aren't old enough, go look up Stuart Smalley on YouTube. It's going to change your life. Phil Hartman was a legend. And Stuart Smalley would look at the mirror and say, I am special. And it was his relationship with himself, We laugh about that, but the way we feel about ourselves, the way we view ourselves is the number one relationship we got to have. The voice in our heads is the voice we listen to the most. So if we're not in a healthy place with ourselves, how in the world can we possibly be healthy with other people? We get that. Well, a lot of this crap, this negative mental stuff that we're dealing with is coming from unhealthy work environments. Now, the Chief People Officer, Scott Doman at Calm, says employers and leaders need to recognize they can be both the cause and solution to workplace stress. I agree with that. Not can be, but like they must be the cause. Excuse me, I apologize. They must be the solution to workplace stress. This is a leadership issue. Leading's loving, leading is serving. Leaders, this isn't an option for you. This isn't, well, I'm going to consider what Ken's saying, or I see these studies as a leader. I'm just going to go, well, look, man, I got enough to deal with. No, you have to be plugged in with this about what is causing stress and, to the best of your ability, removing negative stress. Good stress, positive stress. We talked about that on this show. That's called good old-fashioned dopamine, and you do the right kind of stress the right kind of way. Your dopamine is there, you'll do wonderful. But it's the negative stress that's literally killing people and their minds. So he goes on to say, he recommends, Doman does, that employers offer tangible mental health benefits, meditation apps, other apps, access to free or low-cost therapy, as well as intangible support from managers, peers, and human resources. Now let's just break that down. What does that look like, practically speaking? Companies need to be providing multiple types of resources. Yes, I love the therapy and apps and things that can help, but can we just talk about leaders institutionally across the board? Every leader in the company, no matter how many people they lead or how long they've been leading, there is a mandate from the top all the way down that your job is to talk to your people every week and find out how they're doing personally. And if they're feeling a lot of stress from the work, what resources, training, support, confidence do they need from you to not experience the negative stress? Because here's what we know. Employees that are stressed out, it is affecting their marriage and how they interact with their spouse, how they interact with their kids, how they interact with their friends, what kind of distractions and medications they take. And medication doesn't mean I got it at my local pharmacy. This is the reality. Doman says it's okay to feel stressed and it's okay to not be okay. He encourages leaders to talk about their own stress and how they care for their own mental health so employees will see these examples and feel comfortable discussing their own stress and mental health. I agree with that. I think for you to say to them, hey, I want to talk about it is one thing. For you to be honest and transparent, they're going to go, okay, I don't feel like I'm going to get shamed. You were vulnerable. You were transparent. And I don't feel like I'm going to feel awkward being transparent and vulnerable if I got to go see you. Now, I want to give a practical encouragement for those of you who are feeling this way and you don't feel like your leader has opened up enough or created enough of an expectation that you feel safe to talk to them. What do? You still got to go talk to them. But what you've got to do is you've got to be very, very specific about what is causing the stress and come to them with some solutions that they hopefully can support or resource. But you also must set boundaries. Before you ever go into that leader, I think you got to set some boundaries to say, this is what I think a healthy response is. This is how I know that they've heard me, they care for me, and they're going to try to help. If I don't hear that or see that, I've got to be okay going, I'm not going to choose to work this way, which means I'm not going to live this way, which means I'm going to go find a healthy environment and I'm going to be okay. But I'm not going to just settle for this overwhelming negative stress that will burn me out and cause irreparable damage in my life.
Did you know that recruiters take an average of 6 seconds to scan a resume? And that's if they ever see it in the first place. In fact, 75% of resumes are rejected before reaching a hiring manager. Listen, folks, if you want to get hired, you've got to make your resume worth noticing. That's why we created How to Write the Perfect Resume. This free guide will walk you through the 5 steps to stand out in the hiring process to get you your dream job. If you want to get started, go to kencoleman.com/resume.
All right, folks, time for our coaching session. Thrilled to always give you an opportunity to call in. 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go to Tom, who joins us now in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Tom, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken.
Tom, how are you?
My call.
You bet. What's up?
Doing great. Hey, how do I figure out what my calling is? I feel stuck.
Okay. Well, you're not stuck. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You are either scared, you're afraid of something bad happening if you step out, or you doubt that something good will happen if you step out. That's my take. I don't think you're stuck. I think you're staying put because something is creating doubt or something is creating fear. It might be a combination. So when somebody says what you just said, Ken, I'm stuck, I don't know my calling, I think you have an idea. I think your heart is beating fast when you think about a desired future. But your head's going, I have no idea how I get to that future, and your head wins the battle. If I'm wrong, tell me. But that's what I think is going on with you.
I think you're dead on.
Okay. Whew. I get a little nervous every once in a while when I jump out on the end of a diving board like that, but I've been doing this long enough to know what's really going on. And I explain that to you, Tom, so that the rest of the audience who's feeling this way can now go, oh, I'm Tom. So, Tom, what is your heart longing to do? Describe that.
I love helping people, just seeing a difference in their lives, seeing them make a change.
Describe those people. Who are those people? I mean, paint a picture for me.
Well, I think mostly just older people, or just even middle-aged people or older people. Just seeing them just transform and just inspiring them to
transform from where to where. So they are here currently, and they want to go somewhere else in the future, and you help them get from where to where. Describe it. What, in other words, what problem are you helping them solve, or what desire are you helping them meet? Give me that answer.
I think I'm helping them change the way that they operate and they function, meaning like they are kind of like in a pattern where they're not getting the results that they want in their life. What
results? Professional results, health results, relationship results, financial results. I'm trying to help you, Tom, because I think you know it, but you're thinking too hard. You're trying to make it sound good. Just tell me the problem that these middle-aged people have that draws you in. What's the problem?
Their professional results. Like they're just not achieving, ultimately what they want to do with their life.
In other words, they're you.
Yes.
How old are you, Tom?
Yes. 38.
Oh, well, gee whiz. You talking about older, middle-aged people. Good heavens, man. Slow your roll. You're 10 years younger than me, Tom. You're going to offend me. I'm kidding. Tom, you want to help people discover and do what they were born to do?
I do. I think...
How? What solution do you have for that? Or do you want to provide?
Well, I want them to be able to uncover what's holding them back. And I just want them to live a more fulfilling life.
How do you do that? Is that a life coach, career coach? Is it mental health counselor? What is it?
Yes.
Tell me.
I think
Paint
life
the
coach
picture.
I think I would love to be a life coach or a mental health coach.
Well,
both of those.
Well, but those are two very different paths, which is okay. So now we've got ourselves, do I want to be a life coach or do I want to be a mental health counselor? And one requires more training than the other, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. So that means one requires more money than the other. But we're not going to make our decision based on that. We're going to make our decision based on the heart saying, yes, I want to do this. So have you taken my Get Clear career assessment?
I have not.
All right. I'm going to give it to you as my gift today. I want you to take it. And when you get your report of what you do best, what you love to do, and what motivates you, and read your purpose statement, you start looking at it through the lens of life coach, mental health counselor, and then we can have you call back. In fact, I'll do that. Let's reschedule you, and then we'll really walk through this. But you need some clarity first. Then the confidence and courage will take care of itself. Thanks for the call, Tom. Hang on the line.
According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. If you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is the time to showcase how you are the best choice for the role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just some intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. Go to kencoleman.com/interview.
All right, folks, you know that dreaming about where you want to be is only half the equation. You've got to see actually how you might get up that mountain, whatever that big goal is. So when it comes to your finances, knowing where you're going will keep you on track, even when life throws its potholes and detours at you. So I'm thrilled to talk about our Every Dollar budgeting app. It's a world-class budgeting app from Ramsey Solutions, and we've got a brand new feature in it. It's going to keep you motivated and help you reach your goals. It's called the Financial Roadmap, and it helps you visualize your progress towards your goals while you're doing your budgeting. So all you got to do is fill in your numbers, your age, income, current savings, then get an idea of when you can expect to hit that next milestone. You can play around with the numbers. That would allow you to maybe fast forward the journey. It's a wonderful tool. Premium users of Every Dollar already have this feature. And if you are a free user or would like to be a free user of Every Dollar, you can test drive this awesome feature. You're essentially getting premium, Every Dollar premium, for 14 days for free. Go to everydollar.com/updates. Everydollar.com/updates. All right, this is fun. So not everybody can call into the show. Not everybody wants to call into the show. And the fact is, if you ask me a really good question in written form, whether that be on Instagram at Ken Coleman, or YouTube in the comment section or podcast, whatever, you can email ask@kencoleman.com, ask@kencoleman.com. And if you write it well, like these questions here, then I can answer succinctly. Here we go. Jonathan writes in, Ken, I'm a software engineer. I've seen Chat GPT write code before my eyes, and I'm worried that it could pose a threat to my future career. What are your thoughts on this new technology? Well, I just had a great conversation with Chris Doe, who is so much smarter than me. It's almost painful. But he's brilliant. He's a great guy. We're going to air it next Friday on the show. You'll see some of the interview. But I actually asked him, and you'll see a deeper dive on this podcast and YouTube, of course. But I asked him about AI, and we talk about it. So I'm going to borrow something from Chris to answer for you. What Chris said is that we need not be scared of it. He said because AI, as it relates to creating content, so whether it be code or kind of written or spoken word like I do, he said it's not an algorithm that does it all for you. It only works with your contribution. So, for instance, if I go into ChatGPT and I say, write me an essay on the meaning of work in the voice of Mark Twain. It'll go do that. But I had to direct it. It's not replacing me. It's enhancing me. That's the idea. So I don't think you need to be worried about it at all. Because with your direction, AI can write code. And I actually sourced an article on the show yesterday about how artificial intelligence is being used very effectively in songwriting. Millions of songs have been written with artificial intelligence. But one of the leading companies in this space said, point blank, this is a muse. It's not a replacement. So songwriters, if they get stuck or they got a thought, they'll kind of go out and throw something in and then they get something back. But again, we are informing AI. AI is not informing us. I'm not terrified of it at all, and I don't think it's going to replace you at all. Alexa writes in, I'm struggling with my current job. I like what I do. I don't love it. My workplace is 5 minutes from my house. I've got great benefits. However, I'm having issues with some of my superiors. We recently had a culture survey done, and things came back rather poorly about my boss. Many people, including me, have had issues with her. Rather than the company addressing her behavior, they are offering counseling for her two employees, me and someone else. Oh, gosh, leaders, why do you make it so hard? She says, what should I do? Well, two things, Alexa. One, take the counseling. They owe that to you, those boneheads. And while you're getting counseling to get healthy from what she's done to you, start looking for another job. Because I think if you were on the phone with me and I said, Alexa, if you got counseling, but she kept doing bad things, does it make any sense to continue to stay in a harmful environment? It's literally like, I'm getting my brains beaten in on a football field. I don't love football. I'm playing football. I don't love it. And I'm getting crushed. Every game. I can barely walk on Saturday morning, but they are doing physical therapy for me. I do have the ice bath. What? You don't love football. Now, if you love football and you want to be great at football, then you stay. All right? But if I don't love football and I don't want to be great at football, it's the definition of insanity. All right. That's my advice. And I'm sorry, Alexa. Nothing says bad bossery like getting detailed reports of a leader who treats people like crap, and instead of firing her or demanding that she fix it and putting her on notice and fixing that problem, what do? You go get a hose and some soap and wash off the people that she's crapping on. That's your answer? That's what it is. Kendra writes in, how do I negotiate a pay offer? I currently am a contractor for this company for over a year now, and now they want to hire me as an employee. As a contractor, I currently make $37.63 an hour. The employee comp range is $21 to $25 with benefits. I'm currently cleaning up a mess that their employee created on top of my regular duties, and they're going to offer me something via email or letter. Would I have grounds to negotiate? Yes, but I don't think this is negotiation. I think this is communication. If they offer you something in the range of $21 to $25 plus benefits, but you're currently making $37 an hour, I would just say, hey, I appreciate the offer, but I'm running the numbers and I can't do it for that. I'd be better off staying on as a contractor or going somewhere else. That's not negotiation. That's communication. They need you. They want you. They need to pay you. All right. Next is Ankita. I am currently working in the field of law and have a stable salary. However, I'm feeling growing frustration with the rigidity in my field, and I want to explore other options. But law is what I've always known. Now, this question applies to more of you than you think, so listen to this. All I've ever done is law, she says. I went to law college and immediately went into it, and that's all I've done. I don't have any experience in anything other than the law. I disagree, Ankita. Let's finish your question. I'll come back to that. I have no inkling whatsoever of what else I may enjoy or be good at. I'm not sure I agree with that either. As I get more exposure to different people with various backgrounds, I'm now at the age of 29 realizing there's so many options in careers. Yes, Ankita. Finally, the heart of her question. Am I too old to horse around with a stable career at my age? If I should experiment with different fields, how do I choose something else? I'm especially scared that I will waste money in something that doesn't work. Okay, here's the short answer. Ankita. Yes, you've only ever worked in the law field, but as a lawyer, you have experience doing a lot of things that are incredibly valuable in different fields. Second, you have a lot of skill sets that you have developed even in the legal field and through your law training and in doing this every day. You have the ability to think and communicate, process. There's so many skills that you have that people would say, I'd love to have a former lawyer come over here and do this work. You got to flip this narrative. Now, as it relates to, should I horse around? Yes, you should. This isn't horsing around. This is something if you don't do, you're going to wake up at 59 and be full of regret. You're 29. You have plenty of time. Let's get out and start to talk to people in different worlds and things that interest you. It's called the proximity principle. Get around people that are doing what you want to do. Get in places where your work that you want to do or think you want to do is being done. And let's clarify and verify.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.